terms of trying to say, can we do better for our patients? Hugo is alive. It's in 25 markets across 5 continents. 8% of the volume are hernian. They expect that to rapidly expand. There are over 100 peer-reviewed publications trying to say, can we do better for our patients? Hugo is alive. Zada has published the first experience on doing a robotars on Hugo. The first speaker is Philip Moisems, and he'll be talking about his transition and experience with robotic inguinal. I'm going to be walking around down here. It's meant to be lively. There's a microphone that Lindsay is walking around. And if you have any questions, come on up and raise your hand. I'll find you. This discussion is just meant to be for you guys.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I will show some slides, and at the end will be a video of a live surgery that we did. In the video, we can ask questions and already start a discussion if you want. But these are main disclosures. I do am a broker for both including Medtronic. I speak on behalf of Medtronic. As you know, in the United States, you might have seen this slide. There's a rapid uptake of the use of the robots for inguinal hernia. Actually, there's more inguinal hernias operated with the robot than with straight sticks by now. So how does it work in Europe? In Europe, there is like the tendency to think that the robot is maybe for ventral hernia, but there are some places, I think, where groin hernia plays its role. And I think certainly in the training pathway that when you want to start to learn with a robotic platform, being Da Vinci or being a UMI, using groin hernia as your index operation is very wise, because it could be a bit like the groin hernia robotically could be a bit like what cholecystectomy meant for laparoscopy in our learning how to work with these new tools. Because you need fine dissection, you need mesh deployment, you need suturing, a lot of clutching and camera motion. So indeed, it can be an ideal way actually to get access to the ventral hernia. And like many things, the more complex your case, the more potential benefit you have from robotic technology and a robotic platform. But getting to these patients and benefit most, you need a learning. So for example, the learning curve of Martin Simmons, the current president of the European Hernia Society. You see in his hospital, he's not allowed to do groin hernia electively with the robot because of the cost. But on the other hand, he used it as his learning tool. The one thing is that you see in the US, many surgeons, once they do robotic groin hernia repair, they don't go away from it anymore because they do see some value for other things. There is a training pathway you need to follow. There's actually some preclinical stages where you learn how to work with the robotic technology and its clinical stage. And we're shortly through that. So this is me when we got the Hugo robot in the hospital for the first time. And actually, you see that you have to adapt to that new console, although you're an experienced Da Vinci surgeon in my case. You have to learn how to work with this tool. You have to do simulator exercises. You need to get a diploma. And then you will go on your teeth because the draping, as you saw, it's a modular system with separate arms, draping, different from other robots that you might have. This is Carlos Miguelais from Porto, and he was the first one that I trained for hernia surgery using the Hugo platform. And he is a surgeon with a lot of MS experience, but not robotic experience. So he transitioned to using the robotic platform for his hernia work. As you can see, here we are doing some cholecystectomy on a porcine model. We also developed, and this is published now, a nice way actually to do the different steps like we want to do them in humans, do the same in a porcine model. Of course, you can also do cadaver, and there, of course, the anatomy is more similar to what your patients will be. But the porcine model is indeed, I think, good enough in anatomy of lighting to do those different steps. The console comes with 3D glasses, and actually you can sit behind the surgeon and follow it if you're wearing those glasses. And actually there's a touch screen with which you have to learn all the different steps you have to do to dock the arms. You have some angles, docking angles. This is me doing my first robotic groin hernia with the Hugo system in our hospital for the first thing going. I will show a video now which lasts about 4 seconds and a half. It's about the kids. I think this is probably one of the first live surgeries on the Google platform. I was doing that together with David Shen at the amazing Taiwan Institute for Robotics. So we'll run this video now, and David and others can comment or you can ask questions if you want about the platform. So you see we have an entry. They come out the Google system is 11 minutes, 11 minutes trocars. Your 2 other trocars are 8 minutes. One of the things is that when we want to do the surgery, very often I put the mesh in first before the docking, so there's less step during the surgery. And of course, being a mesh through an 11 trocar is more easy than when you're for 8 minutes.
Can you take us up through how did you dock? Where did they come from?
So the arms, there is a specific way to set up the system. It's called a setup guide. And because you don't want to burden surgeons when you're doing the first time to find it out by themselves, there's a specific setup guide. So 2 arms come from the right side of the patient in 4 growing and 1 from the left. And then there's a docking angle, there's a distance of your arm. So that's all predefined for each type of surgery. And Nico will show that as well. There will be for each type of operation, Pennsylvania, from the left, from the right, for a robotic target. We will need specific setup guides. And they have that for other surgery as well, like cholecystectomy, hysterectomy, prostatectomy. So you see very fine dissection can be achieved.
So you use both platforms. You use traditional Da Vinci is how you started, and you're on Hugo as well. Well, what's the difference when you sit down at the console? Do you find that there's a perceptible?
Well, it is an open console, so and of course the Da Vinci system has a closed console. You know that you put your head inside, you're more isolated actually from the team that is around. So there is some value actually from being able to communicate better with the people that are on that side. And yeah, the ergonomics is a bit different. Is it better? Well, I think that Da Vinci is a little bit strain on the neck you can get when you do a lot of those surgery. The sitting position probably is a little bit more comfortable. The visualization is amazing. I always thought it would never be better than on a Da Vinci system, but we must admit that even this system is even on a higher level, I think. Of course, they have an 11mm camera compared to the 8mm of Da Vinci.
So in this case, I'm sitting right next to Philip, and so normally your learner can't really experience the same thing when you have a Da Vinci unless you have a dual console. And here I'm sitting right next to Philip. We're talking about the case, and the whole room is actually sitting next to Philip. Conrad and Yuri, you guys were just on Hugo doing robotars, and you hadn't actually used it before. Yuri, what was your experience doing a robotar on a Hugo? What did you notice right away in terms of how was it different?
Well, it's important to certainly point out, in all fairness, it was my first time doing a case, so we kind of jumped a few levels. So there was a little bit of, I found that even throughout the procedure, my in the ease of use improved. So there's a learning curve even within the procedure. So I suspect some of the difficulties that I had were just inexperience. I found the dissection was very similar. I found some benefits to the way the ports were set up, and we were able to avoid some of the collisions that typically may happen in some of the Da Vinci cases. I think the instrumentation is very similar. I also found that the energy source was really reliable. So that's always reassuring. You want to make sure that you're able to kind of deliver the same hemostasis and dissection kind of precision. As Philip is showing you in this video, the current and the heat delivery is very precise, and that's, I think, robotics is sort of known for that, but certainly in Hugo, it was obvious how you can do that.
So for those of you who aren't used to using 3D glasses frequently, at least before this, how long did it take, or did it take any time at all to get used to that?
I hate 3D glasses in general, so I'll be like a great person to tell you I can do the 3D movies kind of bothers me. So I actually had reservations about it, about how it's gonna be, and I got used to it very quickly. In fact, I have glasses, so you can just throw it on top of your other glasses. I had significant concerns about it, I'll be honest with you. I thought I might get a headache because you kind of have to look straight and look around. It was not an issue at all, and if I can honestly say, if it didn't bother me, it's not gonna bother anybody.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised during this time would be prior to visiting Chicago, I heard from a lot of users and the challenges of utilizing the Hugo doing robotic hernia surgery, reach and everything like that. And we went to Chicago, didn't even train, didn't first time literally on the console, and three of us did a robotic TAR. Technically, it was the same surgery. I didn't really experience much learning curve, maybe trying to figure out how to set myself up was a little bit of a challenge. But like what Yuri was saying, I was very dubious about utilizing glasses. I told them I don't think I needed during one 3D movie utilizing glasses. I actually found myself walking the halls and I still had my glasses on, so that was kind of surprising as well.
You're gonna convince he's used to wearing glasses on glasses on glasses, so it was not that hard.
Not 3D glasses, and and again, if people are used to like kind of 3D glasses in the movie theaters, it's not gonna be an issue at all. Honestly, I think we had those conversations before that. It was not an issue at all, and it's easily overcome.
We're gonna ask a question of the audience. How many of you guys are currently doing robotics? If you could raise your hands up high. And this is really in the beginning of robotics in the US. We asked the same thing at the ACS, and it would be like that. And so, how many of you guys in 5 years think that you'll be doing robotics? Raise your hands. Okay. And how many of you want to be doing robotics? Great. All right. Well,
I actually have a question for those who didn't raise hands. What's the problem with that?
You're eating lunch.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you're awake. Now, why would first? I want somebody who did not raise a hand for any of those questions to tell us what is the main kind of philosophical or emotional kind of barrier to trying adopting robotic surgery. Forget about the cost. I know the cost may play a significant role, but just like there's somebody who can share some really negative feelings about the technology.
Somebody raise your hand if you aren't interested in using robotics, just to share your opinion. No pressure. Oh, okay.
Right.
Chen said that I can do everything laparoscopic. No, that's a real thing. I really actually thought that meant kids.
I didn't raise my hand because of the hesitation of my future surgical years to come. I'm now over 70s and I'm thinking of I could retire anytime. So that's the main reason. Of course, I would love to do actually I've gone through tourist training in Miami, and I have seen Conrad's theater and robots at that time, 2017, I believe. But of course, the older surgeons are thinking of retiring very soon. Are thinking whether or not we should start or rather have the younger surgeons start.
It's so interesting because in the US, one of the highest rates of adoption is in the old surgeons that were just about to retire. And they find that going on robotics has extended their career 5 years, 10 years more because it no longer hurts and they're interested. And so there's a lot of excitement in that population of surgeons. It's really interesting.
I have a partner in acute care surgery in my hospital who was just like David said, kind of slowing down and adopting robotics. Learned actually quite fast because of the laparoscopic background. It doesn't take that long. It may take longer to do some complex stuff, but now for somebody who does a lot of groin hernias and gallbladders and kind of simple hernias, he literally switched. He went from 0 to 100 within several months, and his words to me are just like that. Like I can see myself doing this for another 3 to 5 years without any significant strain on the body. So don't give up.
All right, Nico's going to be sharing his experience with Robotar, which is really the pinnacle of hernia surgery
MIS surgery, but it really challenges the systems and the surgeons.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity of presenting my experience here. I want to acknowledge my partner, Maria Jesus Roazo, who is the next one coming after me in my institution. So this is my disclosure. So the question is why I'm here. It's just a happy coincidence because Hugo was launched at 2 countries at the same moment. It was Chile, Panama, and India. But the thing is that Hugo was the first robotic platform at my hospital. So we are now doing the transition from classic laparoscopic surgery to robotic surgery through this platform. So why do I do robotic TARs and not simpler procedures? Because I had a previous clinical experience. I started my practice in 2012, doing many cases of MIS for benign and oncologic cases, and also have a practice in bariatric surgery. So I have done a very good skill set of laparoscopic abilities. And later on in 2016, I realized that in my hospital, nobody was taking good care of hernia patients. So I went to the States and visited some friends to learn how to do the open TAR, but also at the same time, I learned how to do the laparoscopic approach for bridge scope and TAR from Igor Belyansky. So after a few years, we have followed up our patients and we have published our results of the open and minimally invasive approach for doing bridge scope and the TAR. So at some moment, we thought that this learning curve that Philip showed us recently is already done by laparoscopic surgery. So we are not doing a new procedure. The procedure is the same, the anatomy is the same. So what we have to do is how to drive this new car we were getting at that moment. So also, what was our pathway to perform the robotic TAR? Medtronic provides you a specific pathway of training with the Hugo, so we did that. We did simulators, dry labs, wet labs, and we did 2 cadaver labs. And after having a good experience and using the platform, we did our first clinical experience doing 3 cases of bilateral inguinal cases, and those cases were proctored by a very good friend fast. And after that, we did a second clinical experience, again, 3 cases of bilateral inguinal hernia cases, but we didn't want to proctor them because we wanted to feel how it works and how we can deal with the problems that you have when you're introducing a new technology. And it was a very good experience. So we said, okay, maybe we are ready to move on. And we talked to our proctor, who was not very convinced about doing robotic TAR with the Hugo. So we tried to do our first robotic TAR in January 2023, and we failed. And that is summertime in Santiago. So I went to vacations on that summer, and I was showing the idea that probably we didn't get the right robot for doing these complex cases. But I said, okay, I have to give it another try. And we did it in March 2023 after the vacations. And we did everything by the book, everything as Medtronic proposes, how to dock the arms, the angles, and everything. And I can tell you that it was a surprise for me because this was not proctored, and we were able to do a bilateral robotic TAR. So we were very happy at the moment. But we also learned, and we started our learning curve about how to use this robot. So the first thing that we learned is that this configuration is difficult to work because all the arms are very close together. You can see the angles. You can see that the arms are very close. So if you do wide movements, you're going to have many collisions. So we knew that we have to learn again how to operate and doing shorter movements as opposite with laparoscopic surgery where you can just move all the way up and down. We have also learned how to put the ports. Medtronic provides you these guidelines, but you can modify it as you want. I mean, also, we're in Latin America, so we do whatever we want. And we are also learning, one of the big things that we have learned is this alternative car positioning, which of course came from David Chen. So as you can see here, we have 2 cars coming from the other side and the camera arms coming from the same side of the port. So this port positioning and car positioning allows a wide range of movements, and the collisions are almost 0 in every case. So this was a big advancement in our experience. And this is what you see when you do a robotic TAR. as Philip said, the visualization inside of the cavity is awesome. You have a full high definition 4K image. And doing the list of additions is way safer than what you do in laparoscopic surgery. And also performing the surgery itself, the TAR is way easier. It's way easier than laparoscopy because there you go. Because doing this by laparoscopy is very hard for your shoulders, for your neck. And I think that this is something that we don't talk very often, but I know that my lifespan as a surgeon is going to be longer doing robotic surgery rather than laparoscopic surgery. And one of the big concerns about the Hugo is the reach at the extremes of the abdomen. And I can tell you that after many cases of robotic TAR, I have not had any issues reaching the very extremes of the patient. So as you can see here, we are doing a bottom-up approach, top-down approach, and everything goes very smoothly with this platform. Also, doing the suturing process is very easy with this platform. Here you can see we are closing the linea up there, and this is way easier than laparoscopy surgery, and also closing the visceral side is very smooth, and it's just like having your hands inside of the abdomen. So we're also learning how to read that because this is each part is an independent art. So what we did in the first phase is we tried to flip the patient. Very bad idea. What we did after that is move one part from one side to the other like this, and then like that. But our best experience is with a wavy part. So while you're doing the right side TAR, you have here a wavy part. So when you finish the right side, this arm comes out and this wavy part comes in, and then you reduct. And this is the easiest way to reduct for a bilateral surgery. So as you can see here, this was flipping the patient. This was rotating the parts around the patient, and this is just wavy part. So we have decreased our time from 30 minutes to almost 10 minutes now. So this is our experience. We have done 25 incisional hernias prepared with the top procedure, 16 bilateral, 9 unilateral, like the regular series, pretty much 30, 16% diabetes, small burst, and recurrent hernias. The median width of the hernia for the bilateral TAR is almost 10 centimeters, and for the one side is 7.6, and we also have done 9 bilateral inguinal hernias. We have less experience with the bilateral inguinal hernia because of the cost. Of course, in Latin America, we are always trying to save money. So if a patient can afford the robotic surgery, I'm going to do it, but I'm still doing the robotic surgery. Morbidity is extremely low, only 5 seromas, no clinical relevance about that. And we have one conversion in our very first robotic TTAP case because the ports were placed too medial and we were not able to see the anterior fascia, so we had to move to the regular laparoscopic surgery. This are our operative times. As you can see here, the OR times, surgery times, recovery times, and consult times are all going down as soon as we get more experience, so we're very happy about this. This is our paper that Philip already showed you. I would be happy to share this experience with you. And now we're moving to different cases, to different types of surgeries. We're starting doing robotic hydrohernias. And this is a very good case in which the full stomach was in the mediastinum, and this is the final product of it. And we are also doing oncological cases. This is a total gastrectomy. And this is a nice view of the center trunk. You can see in this case we preserved the left gastric artery because it was a contributor to the left liver. So in summary, Hugo has allowed a smooth transition from laparoscopic to robotic surgery. Also, Hugo has allowed me to do surgeries that are very difficult by laparoscopy, just as TARS. We are still learning the capabilities of the platform. We don't know the limits yet. And we're obviously still doing the learning curve, and I'm more than happy to share my experience, but also I'm more than happy to have friends around the world doing the same process we are doing right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nico. That was an awesome presentation. And what, just this slice of what a Hugo can do, anything from an inguinal hernia to robotic TAR to subtotal gastrectomy. What you've been able to prove is that the system can be used to climb the layers of complexity from most basic to most complex, which I think is most important, especially in terms of robotic abdominal wall reconstruction. Are there any cases, you as an experienced straight stick lap surgeon, are there any cases that you would rather do with straight sticks?
No, to be honest, no. We talked a few months ago about this. I mean, in my practice today, if the patient can afford robotic surgery, I'm going robotic. That's it. It's very difficult. The visualization you have of the cavity, the anatomy is different. You see things that you have never seen before. So there's no way back to the laparoscopy.
Amazing presentation. You really are a pioneer, because the thing is that even though, you've seen other people do robots, you transition, but on a totally different platform. And so that's all of the things that you're figuring out. The beauty of it is that the next person doesn't need to figure it out. And that's the key. And there's two things that are important to that. One is that in the adoption of robotics, even on our experience with the intuitive robots, so much of it is also partnership of industry. To have somebody in the room, from Medtronic that they're so valuable that because we're good at the console. When I sit down in a Hugo console, it is no different. Surgery is no different, but the setup is like that's the partnership that robotics is really. There's the surgeon that needs to be an expert. There's the OR team that needs to be an expert, and there's your Medtronic person who needs to be an expert. Yeah, Conrad, can you you made this, you kind of develop these things the same way that he was coming up with setup guides. How do you see how do you make that transition so that it becomes standardized for everybody? And what's the role of two things like going to ERCAT and training at a site like that with Wayne is the one, or and what's the role of IHC? We learned so much about robotics just with Brian Jacob, saying, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think the initial strugglers were somewhat similar when they started doing robotics and trying to climb that layer of complexity from most basic to most complex, like we've been seeing Philip Moisons to Nico Quezada do. I think it's all about touches, and not only touches. I think it's all about watching other surgeons perform more cases. Hopefully, Nico, you will continue. Nico and Philip will continue to share their experience with the world. We have a platform that Dr. Brian Jacob has given us, and like what he said yesterday, if you attended his talk, I don't think we're at the stage of robotics that we're at today without social media. But yeah, I would encourage anyone who has is there anyone in the audience that currently has the Hugo system in their hospital? If you can raise your hand.
Wayne is Wayne runs ERCAT Taiwan. So for any of you guys that wants to adopt advanced techniques, not just in hernia, but organ, colorectal, they run amazing things. But what's your experience?
I've got a question, Dr. Chen. When you showed the double dock, it dawned on me that not every operating room may have the real estate to have 4 arms prepped and waiting in the 4 corners. Can you explain the size or what kind of real estate you need behind the scenes to have 4 arms with 4 different corners? I mean, a lot of times with the Da Vinci, we got it in one area, but there wouldn't be enough room for a second into the other side. So explain the size of the operating room.
It's probably it's like 6 by maybe 7 by 7 meters. OR is a big one. It is designed for the Hugo. And yeah, that was a part of the learning for how to put the patient and everything in the OR. So because the cards are big, so you have to have a very good, big OR.
Yeah, we talked about if you're doing an ambulatory case in the surgery center, you probably just use 3 arms just because of footprint. You're not doing big cases in the surgery center or anything. Let's go on to Archana's talk, and we'll have ongoing time for discussion.
While Arch is setting up, I think the one thing watching Nico is impressive is, and it's for the audience, when you look at robotic benefits and robotic ability, it's important to separate technical competence from procedural competence. So as you watch him do, whether it's Robotar, ETAP, or anything else, it's just the moves of the hands and how you apply steps and instruments. So to me, as you look at this, the technical competence from just handling tissue, retracting, suturing is key. And obviously Nico has mastered it, but it really doesn't look like it matters which platform is there. And it's going to be extrapolated to every procedure that Dave mentioned. So as you guys watch these videos, concentrate on the moves of the hands more than what is being done, per se, what procedure, because once you kind of handle, learn the actual, what the instruments can do and how to handle tissue, it can be applied anywhere in the body.
Okay, so let me get started. I'm gonna be talking about touch surgery. Can I ask how many people in the audience have touch surgery? I see a few back there, I think, okay. So the question of this is why, and then we'll start with the why and then we'll get to what it is actually. And so this comes from like, you know, questions and concerns brought up by like all of us, especially people in education, as well as those who just wanna, you know, we're on a lifelong journey of improving our surgical techniques in terms of our outcomes and all of that. And so I put that, the picture downstairs from the opening ceremony because, you know, maybe touch surgery can teach us or teach me how those amazing athletes are able to do that as well. So this comes from the surgical data science, which is a field that is really growing. And this study that was published that came out of one of the SAGES works groups and talking about the perceived barriers to obtaining operative video and how we can overcome them. And if you look at this this visual abstract here, you can see that about 2/3 of people are concerned about medical legal concerns. And then in terms of the barriers, they're also worried about violations of about privacy, both of the patient as well as those who are in the operating theater at the time. And then of course, the other things in terms of trying to remember to turn on the recording and then just any technical difficulties. The features that are appealing, however, in terms of having a good recording solution are the features of possibly having AI integration, uploading to private secure libraries, and having analysis and insights from AI. So this all kind of fits in well as we move a little further with surgical data science in terms of what we are hoping to get out of this. It is all small steps going up to machine learning, helping us get better outcomes for our patients, helping us improve in terms of our overall education for our trainees, as well as for lifelong learning. So the touch surgery ecosystem is really trying to address all of this. So in terms of both simulation initially, the video, live streaming, performance insights, which are coming, and then the whole connectivity issue. And the advantage, I think, of all of us of having our videos in one place that you can access from anywhere. I'll tell you, I'm traveling with 3 different hard drives because I can't remember what video is on what. It's a mess. Always trying to improve and share new skills. And so it gives you the opportunity for post-op debriefing, education, coaching, and skill improvement, as we're all always working on that. So as soon as you're finished with your case, the DS1 computer has already kind of captured everything. You walk out of the OR, the video is already on your phone. And so you use the controller to do like the start and stop of the recording. Because I will tell you sometimes when I'm looking at my videos for editing, I see there's like 1 hour that nobody stopped it after the case is gone. And it's just like a black screen going on for a long time. And then from there, this is kind of the most exciting part of it, I think, is the redacting technology. And there starts the video. So AI recognizes when you've taken the camera out of the patient. And it immediately starts blurring so that you are protecting both the patient aspects as well as any of the people around in your room. Storage on the cloud, which is of course absolutely exciting, and you can access this on your desktop or on your mobile to review, to annotate, and everything else. Next up is the live stream, or you might say that's step 4, either way. Got the cordless design, so it doesn't take up that much space. It doesn't get in the way of the workflow. And then there's the experience of integrating to the full ecosystem, and you have the access via what we just talked about already. So we're talking about live stream here. So we're taking the touch screen. It can be sent to desktop. You can have people watching your live stream as you're doing it. And then the screen can be recorded. And then again, say this is what we talked about before you walk out of the OR and everything's available on your phone already. Next level from this is like, what's the next thing we can do, right? We can learn ourselves, we can live stream things, teach people at the same time. And then AI is there to start getting us exciting information that it captures while we're doing the rest of it. And so this is still a work in progress. However, there's a lot of exciting things already out there in terms of segmentation of portions of the operation. And then identifying some things that I think that people who've already been using robotics for a while are used to, which is in terms of economy of motion, that type of information, overall times and all of that. But the next step from that is going to be more insights into the anatomy as well as into different phases, because we already know a little bit about the instrument and view insights. So simulations, the video, the live stream, the performance insights, and then the device connectivity is what's coming up. And so to me, when you look at a video like this, you're looking at all of the opportunities for how we can really get more information in real time to make surgery safer, to make education safer, easier. This is what they're working on, and all the demos and stuff that I've seen at least are just very, very exciting. Just a little bit of real world utilization of this technology. So we had a hernia compact course in Minneapolis a couple of months ago now. This is the live cadaver dissection. We have these done by David Chen, Bedra Augustine, Yuri Betsky. And so you see like all of the trainees kind of like, you know, in the traditional model of just everybody in the room looking up on the screen, trying to look over other people's shoulders and stuff. And then there were some other people. So this is Jim, who is one of the Medtronic reps, and he's just sitting there watching it on his phone. And then this is some of the rest of us, and we were just sitting in the other room, and you can get like 4 views. So you're getting that external view, you're getting that the laparoscopic view, and at the same time, you're getting all of the audio stream to explain what's going on. Probably just like a better way to learn. Time, I know something that we look at all the time. Time does not equal quality, of course. And I think that is one of the important things. And so we're trying to figure out here, and this is a study that was done from using information gathered from the touch surgery system. And here that what they really found was that the time really correlated with higher tumor complexity as well as higher BMI. So all this is going to help us so that we don't just focus on time as a static number on its own and see where it's important. A lot of other things that are coming out right now in terms of publications with using the system, and I'm sure this is going to keep going. You want to right now, you can actually just scan this QR code and you can set up an account with Touch Surgery. There's already on the app, there's a lot of videos already and educational material in terms of different cases and stuff. So you don't even have to have it in your OR yet to be able to start gathering the benefits of it, get an idea of what it's about, and see how it may fit in with your practice there. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Arch, and it's time is running short, fortunately, and but it just shows what an incredible progress we have, and to me, I think just sitting here listening to the speakers and being a part of this, I think the feeling is we're really witnessing progress. It's amazing how we're moving forward. And I know Hugh has already been used to do suffragectomies. I know they're doing Whipples in Taiwan. So it just shows you that with more platforms, they're going to push each other. They're going to really move more people from straight laparoscopy to robotic technology to do better surgeries, to do more surgeries minimally invasively, and just amazing to be again alive during the time when this progress is happening and witnessing what's happening and what the surgery is going to be in 5 or even 10 years.
Thank you so much to the APHS for allowing us the opportunity to talk about this, and to Medtronic for being a great partner to the society. Thanks so much for staying for lunch.
Good afternoon. We're going to start the next session. Can we stop the time first? We're fixing the computer part. Thank you. So good afternoon again. Let's get start we'll start the afternoon session, the lecture from the lectures. Our speaker for this afternoon doesn't need any super introduction. He's well known all over the world. He grew up in South Carolina. He's also a football player at Clemson University, attended this medical university at the University of South Carolina, and completed his surgical residency and research fellowship at the University of Louisville, and a fellowship at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio, where he is now a faculty of the Cleveland Clinic, and subsequently the Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he serves as a professor and the director of the Carolinas Medical Center. Dr. Henry Ford has a author no less than at least more than 500 publications and book chapters and edited 3 books. They have won several awards, more than 65 actually, from multiple societies like SAGES, American Council of Surgeons, American Veterinary Societies, and everywhere. He has developed surgical apps like the Carolinas for hernia, and it's been downloaded in more than 135 countries worldwide. If you look at the Google, Dr. Henry Ford's peer-reviewed papers have been cited at least 30,000 times. And recipient of the MedStar Georgetown University of Lifetime Achievement Award, the American Hernia Society NIHU's once Innovator of the Year Award by the Business Journal, and has honorary membership in multiple international societies all over the world. Dr. Henry Ford is a past president of the American Hernia Society, and he's a very good teacher. 6 of his trainees actually became president of the American Hernia Society. And in 2 years' time, another trainee of his will become the president again. He is the founder and president of 501c3 charity, Barrel Age Charities, that supports prostate cancer detection, research, and health equity. Friends, please welcome Professor Tad Henry Ford.
Thanks very much. These are my disclosures. And my real disclosure, if you ever see anything that comes out of the presentation that I do that's worthwhile, it comes from these people. Now, I work hard in Charlotte, North Carolina, fix a lot of hernias. I do foregut surgery as well, but any of the papers, any of the research, the people who presented the best are these people. I've enjoyed a long history with the Asia Pacific Hernia Society, and I so appreciate becoming an honorary member a few years ago. I experienced some wonderful times here, and thank you. If you wonder where Loris, South Carolina is, where I grew up, and those of you who are from Asia and not from North America, it's a very small town just off the coast of South Carolina. I grew up in a tobacco farming community. This was my family. This is Again, growing up in Laura, South Carolina is known for being a fairly poor state. We're number 49 in 50 states in public education. And but I will tell you, a pretty amazing place. I had 6 brothers and sisters. We grew up in a very tiny home, and this is what the home looked like initially when I was growing up. But this is what it looked like about 4 years ago. It's still standing, a really small place. But I will tell you, growing up in this family was really quite incredible. And I, mentors, I had mentors galore. These are my 3 brothers down here. They were not mentors who really just beat the hell out of me, but they also taught me survival techniques as well, which are also beneficial. All I wanted to do growing up was play football, played high school football, played college football. And what really broke my heart, absolutely broke my heart, was I wasn't fast enough to play professional football. And my plan B was maybe to do medicine. And it's been amazing. How about my mentors? Nobody, and David Chin talks about all the time about standing on the shoulders of giants. And there are people who trained me to be who I am. And my mother used to say that kids are malleable. And there's no question, there's my father. I'll come back and talk about my mother in a minute. This is my high school football coach. This is my college football coach. And then the chairman at the University of Louisville, Hiram Polk. And so one of the things when I put this together, which was really quite incredible, that I didn't notice it until about 3 weeks ago when I started putting slides together. And my father, at age, he had a job when he was 5 years old. He delivered all the milk in our town from the beginning at 5 years of age, before school on Saturdays and before church on Sunday. My high school football coach, one of the youngest coaches in the state of South Carolina, win the national championships, win the state championship. My college football coach still has the record as the youngest coach to ever win the most popular sport in the United States, which is college football. And at 33 years old, he won the national championship. My surgeon mentor, Hiram Polk, was chairman at a major institution at age 34 years old, the youngest in modern science, modern history of surgery in America, youngest chairman ever. Young people going hard, and I guess it's where I learned it. It comes down to what you learn as a kid. My father was a big man, and I don't have his frame. He was a big human being, and he was a big personality. And there was a problem in town, there was a problem in society, the problem in our state. People came to my father. It was always thinking through problems, always making things happen. And growing up in the Depression, always giving of himself. He won the State Palmetto Award, which is the highest honor, non-military honor in the state of South Carolina. But then there was my mother. My mother raised 7 kids, fed us, and started Prime Star in our county, started the Mental Health Association in our county. She was Volunteer of the Year in my town multiple times. She was the business leader. She was president of the Business Association twice. She was even Volunteer of the Year in Conway, South Carolina. We didn't even live in Conway, South Carolina. My father, when he won this award, all he kept saying is, and my mother deserved it. Incredible. So when I put my mentors up here, my mother is every bit of this. I was taught that to be a good academic surgeon, you need to be a triple threat. You need to lead from the operating room, because if you can't lead from the operating room, you're not really a surgeon. Then, of course, you need to train young surgeons as part of it. Training young surgeons, training them in the operating room, and training them in the science of surgery. And then also, you needed to be an academic surgeon. You needed to publish. You needed to press the science yourself so you can stay current and then teach people. And I talked to a group of young surgeons yesterday, and I had an amazing time talking to them. And I completely changed portion of my talk because of it. And they asked me what I wanted to be known for, what I wanted to be remembered for. And that's easy. That's super easy. It's this. The young people that have made me who I am. I hope that I've impacted them as much as they've impacted me. And if you look at this group across the top, 7 across the top, and then 1 here, that 8 of them have either been elected or have been elected to be president of the American Attorney Society. And one thing I've been able to do in my life is pick talent. That's pretty easy. And I will tell you though, however, all these guys up here who have done so well on the top, these guys down on the bottom down here are every bit as good and probably smarter. So the crop that are coming in now who want to do hernia surgery, who choose to do hernia surgery, they're doing it because of these other people. The smart ones are doing it. And someone like asked about these people, and what I did was I stole really smart people who would have been very successful in anything that they did. I keep telling Igor Bielinski, you'd have made more money if you sold used cars, because that guy will go no matter what. What I did was I stole them from transplant, I stole them from hepatobiliary, I stole them from other practices of surgery where they would have been stars no matter what, because they have it inside them in every aspect. And then, of course, you train people who then train people, and they asked me, the young group yesterday, about like, how do you make an impact? And a lasting impact. And I thought about that, and I said it's by, you don't start off by making an impact. Not in the American Hernia Society, not in your profession. You can't make it even at your own institution. But it's much more like farming than it is about hunting. It's not a one-time event. You plow the field, you plant the field, you tend the field, you harvest the crops over and over again. You teach, you control the young people that you're teaching. You teach them about excellence. You teach them about patient care. You teach them about leadership. You teach them about doing what they say they'll do, they do it. And pretty soon, those people, they get either promoted out of your group or they leave. And then they develop their programs and their young people, and then their young people. And pretty soon you have a group of young surgeons who just love hernia repair. But what we also do with our group is every person in our group we develop. Our director of research, I tell them, this is not your last job. You will have another job. We're going to develop you and you're going to leave. Our data collectors, they all leave because we develop them and then they go and we celebrate because when they leave, it's happy. We're happy that they're gone. We'll have to train new people, but by God, that's what we do. And then what happens is all of a sudden, one of your grand fellows, one of your fellows trains a fellow who then comes in and trains you. And how amazing is that? He's trained like everybody, and he comes back and trains granddad. And then if you are looking at like truly about the academics, and I went back and looked at this Google Scholar, and when you look at Google Scholar, this number of citations and the H indexes, how many times each citation has been referenced, and then the number of references that have more than 10 references. But this is what's due to the residents and fellows from their first author. Push the youngsters forward. And I love this. And I stole this from one of Newt's presentations, and he sent me the slide himself, and I said I couldn't do it. I just had to show it's his. And when I was asked by these young people about like mistakes, and we've all made them. And I think being honest with the mistakes that you've made, both in the OR and also in life, I think is important. And I think that when younger in my career, and I was talking about this Wolfgang the other night, and I said, I was too transactional early in my career with the residents and the fellows. Too transactional. It's about winning and about losing. It's about complications and about good outcomes. And with the good outcomes, I can pat people on the back. Those to be celebrated. But with the losses, I was probably too often too harsh. I missed educational opportunities. And that's on me. I heard a football coach once say, if you have a loss and you don't educate through it, then you truly missed an opportunity. And what he says comes out of that is chaos and a loss of morale. And I told that to these young group of surgeons who want to do great things. And I think that's terribly important. And I'll give Wolfgang, he's like my counselor. He's like, Todd, we were all like that when we were young. We were all pressing. We all had to build our careers, to be advanced. We all had to do that. And I thank Wolfgang for giving me that grace. But a transition to purposeful living, a transition to principles that would allow me to talk to my fellow and say, what is it you want and how do we get you there? And let me teach you on that path. And that's been amazing. And I told them too, like, the consideration of like writing so many papers, we've written so many papers, and I think it's, and I, you know, and teaching young people how to present, teaching young people how to write papers, you gotta get up early, you gotta stay late, you need to, that's part of learning how to make a delivery. But when I got to, you know, I wanted to write 100 papers. When I got to 100 papers, oh hell, I mean, that was gonna be, like, that's gonna be it. The problem is, when I crossed 100 papers, it was about like the excitement of finding a $10 bill on the screen. When I got to 200 papers, it was less. But when you do things like this purposefully, there truly is a transition. I stopped putting papers for years. I didn't update my CV. Because the papers weren't about me anymore. Papers were about training young people. The papers were about, like, how do I make this person the best person they can be? The best surgeon they can be for their families, for themselves, and ignite their careers. For years, I didn't put papers on my CV, and neither did I put my presentations. Because the scorecard didn't matter. What happens is like 100 papers, it is a moving summit. It is a moving benchmark to being successful. And it becomes this game that you can't win. You don't lose, but you can't win. And you can run after this to the summit and keep going, or follow it, descend with this into hell, but you'll never win. Being able to step back and enjoy it and find out what's important was transitional for me. I love this quote. This is by a British philosopher from the 1800s. Men did not love Rome because she was great. Rome was great because they loved her. Why has hernia repair taken off in the last 20 years? It's because you have people like, and I'll just say, like Yuri Dubitsky was up here a few minutes ago. Yuri was our fellow. Yuri never came to Charlotte to learn hernia repair. Yuri came to do esophageal surgery, adrenal surgery. And when he left our program, he had some of the largest papers in the country. He had the biggest series in the world of phemochromocytoma resection, the biggest series in the world of gastrectomy for stromal tumors. And that's what he was going to do. But as I asked him, I said, why did you do hernia? Because he just couldn't find a passion for the other things after you learned how to reconstruct someone's abdominal wall. You talked to Renee. And Renee, like, as a resident, did the first randomized prospective trial of open versus laparoscopic inguinal hernia repair. Just the love of it. You know, Ralph, amazing. Amazing story coming from East Germany to West Germany, picking the best places in the country to train. And what he chooses to do is abdominal reconstruction with passion. Hernia repair with passion. You should see this guy teach. It's really, truly incredible. And then David Chin, you talk about your mentor. Instead of selling the Liechtenstein clinic for $2 million, he loved you so much he gave it to you. Because that was what was important to him, passion for hernia. And what's driven this now is we have young people that want to do it. And I put together, like, I talked to my young people, what is it that now super bright people that want to do abdominal reconstruction? It's about the complexity. It's about surgeons like you who drive surgical excellence. We have approachable heroes in this room, amazing approachable heroes in this room that'll stop and take a selfie or say, you know, how do you do an external blink release and what are your approaches? There's technological and scientific growth, research opportunities, and you got, like, in the Swiss hernia days where they're acknowledging young residents and promoting them, really quite incredible. They can see their work makes a difference. They can become a master. They want to be part of a team. And Ferdinand, board certification. That's your gift, one of your many gifts to the world. So now we'll have 145 people apply for one fellowship position. And it's really quite incredible. A couple of last things that I want to close with. I was asked to give a lecture about 18 months ago in India. And then in my lecture, I said, what do you think on this mediocrity, creativity? What's the most important thing that I would say is the biggest change in hernia repair since I've become a surgeon? I'll just tell you, it's not creativity. It's not science. And it's not measured excellence even. Those of you know me, like, what the hell is he talking about? And it ain't the robot. It's a cultural change. And I will just tell you, the America's Hernia Society. Look at this. This is one thing our leadership in the America's Hernia Society missed this year. What do you see about these 5 presidents in a row? None were born in America. How about that? I've had 21 first-generation Americans as fellows. You talk about the drive and the want, and can you do it? The answer is yes, 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 and yes. And there. The other cultural change is this. Is the cultural change of being together. The cultural change, which, and I love these guys. You got David Chen up there and Conrad Balliser, who I consider the emissaries of hernia around the world. They're the ambassadors. And I just want to point out one thing to young people, that triple threat thing that I mentioned. You don't have to do that necessarily to impact the world anymore. You got Conrad who goes around the world teaching surgeons how to use the robot, how to use it effectively and efficiently. And even these are slides from Igor Belinsky's talk. And more of this. But he became the Nihu Swan's Lifetime Achievement Award winner in the American Hernia Society. You can do it a lot of different ways. I want to thank the young people that I've worked with. I'm unafraid to be called a herniologist instead of Henniford. One of my patients said it was Dr. Herniaford, and one of my fellows actually gave me this whiskey flask, and I love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now we have, we'll wrap up our session. Thank you.
Family. Okay. Yeah, I'll come.
All right, for the next session, we will have Symposium 5A, Improving Defect Closure. I would like to call our chairpersons, Dr. Rakesh Gupta and Dr. Anjana. Over to you.
Okay, well, we will keep going and we're just a little bit delayed. This is session 5A, Improving Defect Closure. I'd like to invite our first speaker up, is Dr. Eva Barbosa from Portugal, who's going to be talking about improving closure pre-operatively.
Hi again, thanks so much for being here. It's a real honor, great pleasure. And I'm going to talk about improving closure pre-operatively. And the only disclosure is that I did a previous talk this morning that will talk about pretty much most of the same things. And we can think about that cutting and do the surgery is the only way to succeed, which is actually so wrong. And definitely it is important the way you operate and the way you do your surgery, but it's not everything. And the surgeon do not have to wait for the problems. It's the worst thing if you are on the surgical table and then you realize that you have problems that you did not expect before. So expect the problems and prevent them That's the only way to go, so prevent unexpected problems. And this is not the way to go no more in abdominal wall reconstruction. Abdominal wall reconstruction is about functional abdominal wall, it's about anatomy rebuild, it's about quality of life. So this is the way to go. And there are mainly two important types to closure to achieve, in my point of view. Facial closure, and when midline with muscle medialization, and skin closure, because it's also important. And so much more important too, is after you close, that the patient will stay closed. So go for low CSI rates, and that means planning and controlling every aspect. So success in abdominal wall reconstruction is a continuous journey. It's not something that you do at one point that will give you success in that patient. And I've showed this slide before. This is totally different outcomes. So the patient came to our unit, and this was the way it was before.